your flesh and blood.
Welcome to Tell Me Your Story with Dennis Henson. This is a brand new series we hope that you will enjoy, and it's called Body of Health. Dennis, welcome, and let us start out by telling people about, I guess best way to put it is, our disclaimer.
Okay. Well, Richard, thank you so much for having me on this series. I'm really excited about doing this, but I think it's very important that everyone understand that neither of us are medical doctors or have any kind of medical training. We are just people who are very interested in health and being able to get better faster, so that if you have some problem, that gives you a place to go to find things that have worked for other people that may help you, or they may not, but there'll be something worthwhile checking out.
Body of Health is going to be here every week. The website that we're going to suggest you go to for information, number one website is dennisjhenson.com, which we will have in the audio and video podcast videocast. But there's also a Facebook location, and basically it's facebook.com/groups/body of health. Once again, facebook.com/groups, that's plural, groups/body of health. We hope that you will go there to check out the information that Dennis has provided with us. And with that, we move into Body of Health. I'm Reverend Dr. D. He is Dennis Henson, and we are here on Tell Me Your Story to help you improve the quality of your life. Dennis, first of all, thank you so much for being here. It is always so much fun to dive into this subject because I never know sometimes what it's going to be, and we've got a doozy today, but hey, what a beautiful time of the year it is. We are actually here heading towards summertime as this program is airing, and heading into mid-late May. Oh, I tell you, the weather up here where I live is just fantastic, and I know where you're living, it's looking good too.
It is, Richard, and thank you very much for having me. I always look forward to these each week, and I think we've got a great program for everyone today.
I think so too. You know, this is a subject we're going to talk about today. It's an issue that concerns a lot of folks. I've been hearing a lot of stories about different aspects of this, and we're going to talk about it. And that has to do with the age-old problem, not just with getting to sleep, because there are lots of different ways for you to nod off, as it were, but it's actually sleeping all night long. And I'm going to add one other dimension to this, Dennis, and that has to do with the fact that they say that everybody dreams. It's not about whether you dream or not. It's whether you remember them. But by the same token, you have to reach a certain level of sleep in order to do so. And that may be something we'll talk about a little bit later. But what's the deal with this issue of sleep?
Well, before we jump into it, we need to remind everyone that neither of us are doctors. You know, what we're going to be talking about is our own experience, our own research, and hopefully people will take what we say and do their own research.
Absolutely.
And learn more about it. But today we're going to be talking about that gap in the middle of the night when people wake up and they don't want to wake up, and they have a difficult time getting back to sleep and ending up with 8 hours of sleep. So we're going to attack that today and see if we can solve that problem. I think I have a pretty good solution, but let's talk about it and see.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, as I said, there are so many different ways that one can fall asleep, but it doesn't do you any good if you don't stay asleep. You refer to this as, because we've talked about this before. As a matter of fact, our very first program had to do with longevity, you know, the fountain of youth drink,
Yes.
and living just as long as one wants to. Why is it more than just, you know, laying your head down and just getting some rest? I had an experience where I worked like 7 or 14 days straight at the radio station, and my body finally said, you are done. And I was laid up for 3 days because I just overworked myself. And a lot of people do that. I think there's a term for it called workaholic. But let's talk a little bit about this. Why is it more than just rest?
Well, your sleep time is more than just downtime. It's the time when your body does the maintenance. And when D3 helps to repair your organs and arteries. Deep sleep flushes out toxins and prevents cognitive decline. You've probably had one of those days where you only got 2 or 3 hours sleep
Hmm.
and you had a hard time thinking or remembering where you were going or why you were there. That over a period of time, it will take its toll. So just missing 90 minutes of an 8 hour night of sleep can really affect your alertness the next day. And over time, it can have an effect on your health. That 3 o'clock or 2:30, I wake up every night at 2:30. That 2:30 wall is kind of a bridge in the middle of the night. And some people think, well, I need to sleep all night. I don't need to wake up at 2:30. Well, the truth is you need to get 8 good hours of deep sleep. And it really doesn't matter if you wake up, because before there were electric lights, people often referred to their sleep as first sleep and second sleep.
Hmm.
They would go to bed right after dusk and they would sleep for several hours, and then they would wake up and they would do other things. They would, maybe plan for the next day. Maybe they would get intimate. Maybe they would do, whatever. Now, I know that wouldn't work for me, because if I woke my wife up at 2:30 in the morning to get intimate, my next sleep might be forever.
I hear you. I hear you.
But what happens in the middle of the night is you get a cortisol spike, a stress spike.
Hmm.
Maybe the temperature changes, or maybe something happens that reminds you of something. Well, it's not abnormal to do that, and you shouldn't panic. If you panic and you think, oh, I've got such an important day tomorrow and I really need to get back to sleep, that's the worst thing you can do. Because if you're trying to go to sleep, then you probably won't. So the answer to that is maybe get up and have a glass of water, go to the restroom. Don't turn on your cell phone or the TV. That's the worst, that you cannot do that. But you try to relax and forget things and then go back to bed and use the systems that we talked about in our sleep program, where you think of random things. Don't think of any one problem that you're having. You think of random things like a blue truck, a spoon, the kitchen table, the television set. If you do that long enough, your mind will begin to get drowsy. And when that does, you can't think of the random things anymore. That's good. Then you switch to numbers and you think of random numbers: 8, 94, 38, 62. But you do it as you're breathing. You don't go that fast.
Yeah.
So you breathe and you go 162. 74. Now, if you continue to do that, you can't think of problems. You can't think of 2 or 3 things at once. You can only think of one. And before long, you'll be asleep and it'll be 7 in the morning or so, whatever time you want, you'll get up. So that's really a good thing. Some people try to take melatonin, and that's not good. You're not fixing the problem. You're addressing the symptoms. And the melatonin over time really will be worse for you than whatever sleep it gave you back. So you don't want to move in that direction. Although there are great things, and we'll be talking about those a little bit later, that will help you get a full night's rest sleep, even if it's interrupted by the 2:30.
Right. Well, I happen to be experiencing that. Now, initially, I thought, and this is going back a few years, that it was due to the fact that I needed to get up and go to the restroom because of my blood sugar issue. Because when it's high, you tend to drink a lot and pee a lot. But with my levels leveled out of late, I'm still waking up at 2:30, 3:30. Now I understand, oh, this is normal. And
Yeah.
yes, I will get up. I will go take care of business, as it were. And I'll go lay back down. I may actually reach over to touch my phone, and I go, no, leave it there. Just leave it there. And then roll over, and I will usually be able to go back to sleep until 6, maybe 7, as our conversation today. I actually didn't get up until close to 7 o'clock. But I laid there for maybe, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, and the cats were there at the foot of the bed on my feet, and I sat up and I petted them and scratched them, behind that tail there and all that good stuff. And then one of them always likes to jump down onto the floor and back into me saying, scratch the base of my tail now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even when I go into the restroom, she'll do the same thing. So, okay, you're not moving anywhere. So, okay, attend to me. So I've got those wonderful things. Matter of fact, one of my questions that I ask at the end of my programs during the week is, what gets you up in the morning? And in my case, aside from hey, I just can't go any longer, and I want to talk about that as well. But I also have the cats, and of course, when we had dogs, the dogs would usually get me up, because they needed to go outside, they were hungry, or they just wanted a treat early in the morning. So I'm starting to experience that. This is Tell Me Your Story. This is Body of Health. I'm Reverend Dr. D. He is Dennis Henson. He is the author of Real Impact Daily Inspiration, and we are talking about your body of health. Please go to bodyofhealth.life. Lots of great stuff there, as well as going to dennisjhenson.com, where you have a link to the health tab. It is actually a link. When you click on it, there are several things that you can do. Number one, if you scroll down just a little bit, you can join a group on Facebook. Believe it or not, it's called Body of Health Group. And you click on that link, boom, it takes you there. You can join, and you have people that you can talk with, chat with, if you will, send messages or what have you, share your experiences based upon some of the things we've talked about on this program and so forth. Now, you go back to dennisjhenson.com and the health tab, and you scroll down past that link, and you're going to see all of the information that has been presented on this program. There's some recipes. There's all kinds of great stuff there. We hope that you'll go there. And we hope that you'll stay with us as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story. I'm Reverend Dr. D. Dennis Henson along with me here. And Dennis, we're talking about sleeping. And I mentioned before we let everyone know who we are and where we're coming from, that I sometimes won't actually nod off until midnight, something like that. And yes, usually we are gently watching television. Sometimes it is a comedy or a comedy program. And then I'll fall asleep. I'll get up at that, 2:33 and go back to sleep. But by 6, sometimes it's 5, but 6:30, 7 o'clock, I wake up and I can't sleep anymore. I feel I need to get up. Can we talk just a touch about that?
Absolutely. Before we go too much further, though, if someone's listening in and they're 20 or 30 years old, they're probably scratching their head and wondering, what are they talking about? We don't wake up in the middle of the night, but you will. As time goes by, your body produces less the chemicals that it needs to sleep all night. When you're young, when I was a kid in high school, mother would wake me up to get ready to go to school. I'd want to sleep for 3 or 4 more hours. I'd hit the bed and I'd be asleep and I'd want to sleep till noon the next day. That wears off.
Yeah. Now, and that's sort of tied into the body's, it's still growing until 25 or even 30 years of age. The body is still producing the cells that make the body do what the body does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you, your life is actually all planned out. You just don't know. If you need to do some research. One of the things that I found out the hard way is when you get out around age 70, there's this big cliff that you're going to fall off.
Yeah.
So you can make preparations to make that fall, you get caught by a mattress or some cotton or something that's not so hard, or you just don't pay any attention and you fall off a cliff, it's 100 feet high and you may live and you may not. So that's why Body of Health was developed so that you'll start working on yourself so that you can live longer. And living longer, you want to be healthy and have a good, clear mind.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't make preparations, then that's probably not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably not going to live very much longer. If you can live into your 90s and be comfortable doing so, you've lived about 20 years longer than the average person, which is, I think that's a pretty good thing.
Yeah.
But if you're going to live into your 90s or even to 100, you don't want to do so when you're suffering. You don't want to be living in a bed, having someone taking care of you. So you need to start planning early.
Yeah.
And one of the plans you need to make is sleep is really critical. You really need to try to get at least 7. 7's not enough for me. 8 hours sleep is perfect. If you can get 8 quality hours of sleep every night, your body is going to have everything it needs to rebuild itself and to fight off all the things that happen in your older age. As you get older, people get older, get cancer, they get heart attacks, they have strokes. And it's because part of the reason is they didn't make preparations early enough so that the body had the strength to fight these things off.
Yeah.
Because as you get older, you are going to get weaker regardless of what you do. One positive thing is that your muscles are always buildable. If you're 90 years old, you can still build muscle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we mentioned that before, but that's a good start, doing exercise every day. And one thing that will help you sleep is exercise. If you walk every day, some people run, some people do intermittent interval training. All of those things go toward a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
So keep those in mind.
Absolutely. Now, because this is the subject, we're talking about sleep, and you've mentioned, 7 to 8 hours is actually optimal, if you will. You have these 3 major keys that can help us to achieve that sleep that actually does help us to rejuvenate, even if we do wake up at 2:30 or 3 in the morning, and then we go back to sleep. If you have 1 or 2 or all 3 of these keys going for you, turned, if you will, you're going to have good sleep that's really going to make you feel more alert when you get up the next morning. What are those 3 keys?
Well, you think of these as building blocks. If you can put all 3 of these together, the chances of you getting a really quality night's sleep go up to like 95%. But the way things are set up now, it's hard to put all 3 of them together.
Yeah.
The first one is total darkness. Now, in most bedrooms throughout the United States, there's a radio with with numbers on it. Maybe the moon's coming through the window. Maybe you have your TV on. That's not total darkness. So total darkness is you can't see anything.
Right.
It's totally black. Now, if I have this little mask that I put on my eyes, and I can't see anything.
Hmm.
And it really makes a world of difference. And it's really simple. And, you can get one at the Dollar Tree. They're not
Yeah,
expensive. So that may be something that you want to consider if you're having sleeping problems. Maybe that's one solution that's going to help.
sure.
The second one is total silence. Now, that's harder to get. Now, I don't mean listening to tones in your ears or listening to political commentary. I mean total silence, nothing. You can't hear anything. You can't see anything. Now, those are really great building blocks to getting that full and good night's sleep. And sometimes, if you're married or if you got dogs and cats, or, there's all kinds of things that get in the way of that.
Sure.
Maybe you live close to a freeway. I do. And I can hear the cars passing. I also live close to a train track, and sometimes they blow their horn, whatever. But your goal should be to get the room that you're sleeping in just as quiet as it can possibly be. And if you're having a real trouble sleeping, you may have to ask your partner, can we sleep in different rooms until I can get caught up on my sleep?
Yeah.
Because that movement in the middle of the night, or maybe they make noises or whatever, that wakes you continually is stopping you from getting the kind of deep sleep that you need for your body to repair itself.
Hmm.
And the third one, can you guess what the third one is?
I can guess because I know that we have it where we live now. And I've got the thermostat set low as far
Yeah,
as the furnace kicking on if it gets too cold. But it is just that. It's a very cool or cold temperature. And if it's, let's just say, if it's 45, maybe 50 degrees in the bedroom,
yeah.
we have no problem putting another blanket on the bed rather than cranking up the furnace. So it's got to be the temperature that
It
really
is.
helps you to so to speak hibernate for those 6 or 7 or 8 hours.
Right. And my wife likes it warm. She doesn't like it to be, in the 50s or 40 degrees. So sometimes she'll go to bed and change the thermostat, and I'll immediately wake up. But I'll go downstairs, and it's cold down there, and I'll go right to sleep the rest of the night. So having a good cold temperature, it's generational. You've learned this, you've acquired it through the years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like living in a cave.
Yeah.
It's cold and dark and quiet.
Yeah.
And if you can get all of those together, your chances of you getting a good night's sleep. But the number one cause or help to sleep is total darkness. The other two are bonuses. It's
Yeah.
like darkness is 50%, the other two are 25%. So if you can just get it really, really dark, and the easiest way to do that is by those little
The
shades that,
yeah,
little
those
masks
masks. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that you put on your face.
And I'll tell you, the other thing too is with those three that we have available to us, and yeah, we have this clock up on my wife's dresser across the way. My challenge, I have no problem with it being totally dark. My problem is because I doubt you put earplugs in because you live near the freeway and the train station. I'm sure you found
Actually,
other methods. I don't know, but I would have a hard time doing that because I'm a semi light sleeper. If I hear a noise in the house, I might wake up, do a quick evaluation before I pull the covers off and go check it out to see if, okay, was that the cats? Have they started racing through the house up and down the stairs like cattle? Or did an alarm go off on the dishwasher telling me that the cycle's done, or the dryer or the washer, et cetera, et cetera, if we had started it? Or is there some imminent danger that I need to be aware of? It's like when I put earbuds in. A lot of people, you see them and they have them both in their ears, right? I
mhm.
can't do that. I will have one in my right ear and nothing in my left because I want to hear what's going on around me. So for me, the whole silence thing has to be very real and so forth. Now we do have lights out in the hallway going up the stairs to the second floor. They're motion sensor, which is good. They only stay on about 20 seconds, but when the cats are in their mood late at night, those lights do come on and off. But it's not something that wakes us up. We don't have total darkness because my wife likes, well, we both do like to have a light on if, let's say, we have to get up in the middle of the night so we don't trip into something or we hit our head on the TV that's hanging from the ceiling. That's how we have it mounted. So that's real important. Now, you sometimes you have to work it out. You have to figure out what works best. I like the idea of the mask because it's very easy just to remove, and then you can see around you what's going on, even if you do have lights on in there. Another thing, too, as far as screens are concerned, is there is a mode on most screens, both television, TV, as well as smartphones and so forth. And it's like a blue filter, I believe it is. And that blue filter is supposed, let's say you're scrolling or whatever, late into the evening before you go to sleep. That blue filter is supposed to help to minimize the effects of the screen that would normally, even after you've turned it off, keep you awake for a while. And I have that turned on my phone and, of course, my wife's phone as well. I want to ask you a quick question, though. Now, you like to get 7 to 8 hours sleep, all right? I'm lucky if I get 6, maybe 7 hours because I just can't sleep anymore. But my wife, and of course, in a manner of speaking, we're both retired. I'm semi-retired. I still work full-time remotely. She is concerned about sleeping until 10 or 11 or 12 o'clock in the morning, or noon, if you will. And I just remind her, I said, you're retired. You can sleep as late as you want, get up as early as you want. I'm not going to put any pressure on you to do that. I don't have an alarm clock set for you. Talk to us a little bit about where, as we are in our later years, some of us, we just want to, we could get up. And a lot of times she just forces herself to get up. We could get up earlier, but we just want to stay like you were talking before when you were a kid. Yeah, I could sleep till noon tomorrow. Can you talk a little bit about that in regards to those of us who are in our 60s, 70s, and even into our 80s that they're not depressed. Don't get me wrong. It's just, they just don't want to get up yet.
Well, actually, that's a good thing. If you can sleep later, the longer that you can sleep, closer to the 8 hours, is actually a good thing. If you're still sleepy in the morning, then you're more like you were when you were a child. So that's unless you have some medical issue that's causing you to be that way.
Right.
My secretary's father had some blood disease where all he wanted to do is sleep.
Yeah.
And the doctors told him eventually he just wouldn't wake up. Well, now that's not good.
No.
That's not the kind of sleep I'm talking about. But if you don't have any medical issues and you're still sleepy in the morning and you have the, wherewith to do it, get that extra sleep.
Yeah.
Because it's really, really good for you, especially the older that you get.
Yeah. Well, and of course, it's not every day, but it's probably out of a 7-day period, it might be 2 or 3 mornings when she sleeps late. And I let her sleep because I'm up, I'm doing things, I'm doing the DIY stuff and so forth, or programs such as this. And I love it. We are going to talk to you more about sleeping longer, getting that great sleep. And we'll do that as we continue here on Body of Health here on Tell Me Your Story. Reverend Dr. D, along with Dennis Henson, and we are talking about your better health. Body of Health is the name of the program. Go to bodyofhealth.life, pick up a few things. I've got to go there, Dennis, and I got to reorder another packet of Morning Clarity coffee. It's so good, and it's like, I think you've talked about this before. Yeah, coffee has caffeine in it, and a lot of people that they can't even get started in the morning without their coffee because they need that caffeine hit. I don't. I mean, I'm already up, and I'm ready to go. I just like having it. I'm going out onto the front porch. And watching people walking their dogs going by and feeling the cool air, looking at the blue skies, the green trees, etc., etc. And it's, for me, turned into a ritual. I was so shocked when I started drinking coffee again after we moved up here. I'm not asking why. Okay, doesn't matter why. The fact is, that's what I've been doing, and it's been wonderful. I have enjoyed it, and it actually has helped my blood sugar and so forth. So it's a good thing. But we want you to go there, get your get the things that you hear about here on this program. Go to DennisJHenson.com as well. Go to the Health tab, scroll down to the topic that we're talking about today, or any of the topics we've talked about since we began this series back in January of 2026. And there's all kinds of great information and some recipes for some very healthy, non-glucose spiking candy and desserts. Oh man, I love some of those. And it's just wonderful. Dennis, I don't know about you, and I don't know how much you spend looking at some of these little videos online, but some of them I love where they start with, all right, get 2 bananas. And now add peanut butter, and then add this and this and this. And they never add any sugar. They never add any sweetener per se. They might add, let's say blueberries might have their own sweetness. Bananas have their own sweetness and so forth. And then you mix it all together. You might even put a couple of eggs in there. You mix it all together. And then you put it in the oven. Really? And and then you have one of these high protein, very low sugar, good snacks that you can have. And I know that you've got things of that nature there at DennisJHenson.com. So folks, please take the time to go there. We also want you to go to realimpactbook.com, because there is another method, if you will. And again, this is not to say anything negative. It's all positive when it comes to Dennis books, specifically Real Impact Daily Inspiration. And that is, maybe you might pull out one of the shorter stories out of the book, and that to me would be a great thing to read right before you go to bed, because you're not looking at a screen. Although you can get it on Kindle, that's true. You can also get it in Audible form. There's hardcover and paperback. But if you were to read one of those, just one of those stories, right? But guess what's rolling around in your mind now? That story, that inspiration. Something and who positive. Knows, that might spark those dreams that I was talking about earlier. What I want to talk about now, though, is this bridge that you were referring to the 8 hours, starting from the moment that we wake up. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, well, wait a minute, you just mentioned those 3 keys. I thought that was enough, but apparently there is a way to start your day so that when you end your day, you fall asleep. Tell us about some of these.
Well, planning your day out so that you get a good night's sleep is a very positive thing to do. Plus, it's good for your overall health, regardless of the sleep part. Mm-hmm. The first thing that you want to do is within 30 minutes of the time you get up, you want to get outside and look as close to the sunlight as you can. Of course, you don't look directly into the sun, but look into the bright part of the sky. And it's even better if you take your shoes off and stand in the grass, which is called grounding. It resets your vibrations, and it helps you heal in a number of different ways. You can look up grounding. That'd be an entire new radio program. But I always do that every morning. I let my dog out, and then I go out with him. stand in the grass and look at the bright sunlight every morning to reset my circadian rhythm, which means, okay, it's day, it's time to be awake. And then about 12 hours later, your body's going to know, well, now it's time to go to sleep. So that's biological. Be consistent so that every morning you get up at exactly the same time. And every night you do that again. Sometimes you'll have meetings and sometimes you'll be traveling and you won't be able to do that. But as often as possible, if you can keep that rhythm the same, get up at the same time, go to bed at the same time, your body will get accustomed to that and make it much easier for you to sleep. As night approaches, you want to start winding down. Less and less of the blue screen, your phone or the TV. Drink some tea, lemon balm tea or chamomile tea. Those are really great to help you start the drifting off. If you're going to listen to something, maybe listen to something that's 528 hertz. That music reminds me, we travel a lot. We go to resorts, in the Caribbean, and they always have that music going. And so when I listen to the 528 hertz music, it reminds me of being down there, and that helps me get drowsy and move towards sleep. So that when it's time to go to sleep, you're already halfway there. You just think, if I can just get my teeth brushed and get into bed, I'm going to drop right off. That's the goal. That's how you really want it to feel.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, there's so many different things that we can utilize, and you also have sort of you call it a sleep bundle when it comes to nutrients, and this nightly elixir. You've already mentioned like the teas and so forth, but tell us a little bit about your personal regiment, if you will.
Well, I either drink chamomile tea or lemon balm tea with honey and cloves. Now, you're probably thinking, well, isn't that a lot of sugar right before bed? Yes, it is. A spoonful of honey's got a lot of sugar in it. All I can tell you is it really works. It doesn't keep you awake. It really works, and it does a number of things to kill bacteria and help. And the cloves kill the parasites. But when you mix the three together, it tastes so good. You make some and they're warm, and just the flavor of it starts you on that feeling of, I'm going to sleep really, really well tonight. Now, I also have a number of supplements that I take because I really want to sleep. I had a stroke in 2018. I got really, really bad. I decided I wanted to come back strong. I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to have a clear mind. I did a lot of research. And here are the things that give you the best chance of sleeping without a hangover the next day and without any health problems. Doesn't that sound pretty good?
That sounds darn good. I'll tell you, I'd rather not have to take that next morning hangover remedy, which is usually the hair of the dog that bit you.
Well, if you buy over-the-counter pills or the ones they sell you on TV, chances are you're going to have a headache the next day. You're going to feel drowsy. Yeah, that's not good. That means you didn't get a good night's sleep. But with these things, they're all natural, and they're going to make you more healthy and get you into the deep sleep faster. The first one is zinc. Just a zinc pill. L-theanine is the next one. Magnesium glutamate. And this last one's more difficult for me to pronounce. It's rhodiola, which is a cholesterol killer. Now, in the body of Health.Life, we have bundled these so that you can get them all together, not on one pill. They're like 4 different bottles.
Sure.
But if you purchase all 4 bottles, we give you a tremendous discount Plus, if you use the keyword or the code word radio, you
Mm-hmm.
get another discount. So it's almost like getting them for, really, really super price.
Right.
I promise you, I guarantee you, taking these will make you more healthy, make you sleep better, and you will not ever have a hangover because you took these.
Mm. There is so much in this conversation we're having to go through that we're going to have to carry this over into as we have done on numerous occasions, part two next week, and we hope that folks will join us for that. But in the meantime, in between time, I wanted to also ask you about this other aspect, which you did mention a little bit earlier in the program, when it comes to the mind will just not quiet down. You can't stop it. Okay. The brain is going to function whether you're awake or asleep. But a lot of times the mind is just racing through stuff. And one of the thoughts, and I thought of this when you were describing this earlier in the program, was, oh, you're talking about like counting sheep. Okay. And I heard this one joke about a guy was counting sheep, and before it was all over, he had knitted him an entire Afghan for his bed. But that's one of the things, and one of the first things that you have here in regards to trying to get the mind to it's racing, and you're trying to get it to quiet down because you can't stop it. All right. It's probably the only perpetual motion machine, if you will, that exists in the universe, as it were. But when you say to someone, hey, because I say this a lot to my wife and even to myself, relax, just relax. And will you stop telling me to relax? It makes me tenser. But where do we begin with this whole process so that we can, because I do believe that because we're integrated beings, we have to sort of make friends with all of the elements, our body, our mind, our soul, our emotions, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, as the body is concerned, all of the different systems that exist, whether it's the lymph or the blood or nervous system, et cetera, et cetera. So where do we begin with this? What are your suggestions? What do you use?
Well, first of all, if you're trying to go to sleep, you're probably not going to go to sleep. That's the first thing. The thing that you strive for is rest. You lay down and you think, oh, it's wonderful to be here. And then you relax your feet, you relax your legs, your knees, your calves, all the way up slowly, totally relax each one and let it kind of drift into the bed. Now, what you're doing is you're forcing your brain to concentrate on something other than whatever it is that's agitating you.
Mm.
You're not fighting with it. You're saying, okay, I don't have to go to sleep. I just need to get some good rest. And so I'm going to relax my entire body. You get to your neck, you get to your lips, your nose. If you think right now really hard and think, I want to relax my nose. Just feel it opening up. Whatever you concentrate on, you can relax your ears, you can relax your hair, your eyes. And then once you've totally finished that, then you move into those other things. Now you've calmed down and you can move into, okay, now I'm going to think about unrelated items of every description. The printer in my office, my book, the clicker for the TV, a red Chevrolet. I mean, unrelated things. If you do that for 2 or 3 minutes, your brain will just be exhausted from doing that. And then you move to the numbers because they're easier. And you just think of unrelated numbers, 8, 95, 43, 32, but you do it as you breathe. 42, 68. Well, you're going to be asleep in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If you use that routine, because your mind has been forced to forget whatever it was that it's trying to work out, that you can work out tomorrow anyway.
Yeah.
But the real kicker, the one that's going to help you sleep more than all the other. I mean, it's like the magic potion is creatine. Now, originally, I got creatine to help build my muscles. Take it
Hmm.
in the morning, feel, have a better, clear feeling during the day. And then I read a little bit more, and I kept reading that creatine should also be taken before bed. And I thought, that doesn't make any sense. Well, it doesn't have to make sense. You just drink it and you sleep better.
Hmm.
So it
Yeah.
really works. And then there's a couple of other things. You can rub essential oils, especially uh, which one? Frankincense. I love the frankincense. Rub it behind your ears. It does two things. This is a pressure point, and
Hmm.
massaging behind your ears helps you go to sleep anyway.
Right.
And using the essential oil, lavender is the other one. Between those two, just rub a little bit behind your ear. The
Hmm.
massaging is good for you, and the scent relaxes you, and you just drift run on off to sleep. So that's pretty much my regimen of things I take. All of these things are available for you on bodyofhealth.life.
Hmm.
Now, you don't have to purchase them there. I don't care where you purchase them. I want you to be healthy. I put them there to make it easy.
Hmm.
And we also give you a discount by putting in the radio as a code word. You get a 20% discount. And these are all bundled, so you get another discount. So that might be something if you're having trouble sleeping. I guarantee you'll sleep better and you will not have a hangover. No, no way at all. You'll just feel great the next day.
I bicycled everywhere in Phoenix, okay? There's another kind of cycle. And there are people who are listening to this going, I hear what you're saying, but my sleep cycle is, I want to change it. I want to make it healthier for myself because maybe they're in their 20s or 30s or what have you. I want to live to be 80, 90, or 100. So that means that I need to change my sleep cycle. What are the first steps to do that?
I believe the first step would be go to bodyofhealth.life and take the article that coincides with this program. I think the name of it is Sleep All Night Long with a
Yeah.
question mark.
Yeah. I hear the
Okay.
song, by the way, playing in my ear all night long.
That's right. And just follow the guidelines there. Get the sleep bundle, take advantage of the 20% discount and the bundle discount and just give it a try.
Mhm.
It's not the big expense. You're not risking a lot of money. All you're doing is you're taking a chance on living a longer, healthier, more productive life for just a few cents. If you compare what's there to drugs, the cost of the drugs, this would be nothing. And if you compare it with the cost of getting sick as you get older and the cost of the hospital bills and so forth, it's just, it's not even a choice. This is something that you should do. And the sooner you do it, the better, because that cliff is coming. Your body is going to go over a cliff in your late 70s, late 60s or early 70s. So avoid that at a little cost.
Well, we're going to take another pause here to remind you you're listening to Tell Me Your Story. It's the Body of Health series with Dennis Henson and yours truly, Reverend Dr. D. And we're encouraging you go to bodyofhealth.life to check out all of the different things that are available for you there. Of course, remember, as Dennis already mentioned, put in that keyword radio when you place your order for whatever it is that you're looking at, and you'll get a 20% discount on that. We also encourage you to go to dennisjhenson.com and hit the health button or the tab at the top there on the far right and scroll down, join the Body of Health on Facebook, and then continue on down that page to look at a lot of the great information that we have here that we are just offering to you, suggestions from our observations, our experiences, our perceptions, if you will. And we hope that you will always, as we encourage you to do so, always check with your healthcare professional. As we continue here on the Body of Health here on Tell Me Your Story. Well, Dennis, this has been extraordinary as to dealing with this issue that's been going on I would venture probably as long as man has been on the planet, even when we lived in the cave, because you had a lot of things you had to deal with there. I mean, like I told you earlier, I need to be able to hear, so I'm not putting earplugs in to kill the silence, make sure I hear nothing. But at the same time, the opportunity for us to extend our longevity, if you will, to increase it, if that is indeed what you want to do. I still remember the question I asked my father when he turned 70. And I will never forget the answer he gave, which was so funny, but it was so profound at the same time. I says, Dad, what's it feel like to be 70? And again, he lived to be 91. Well, I'll tell you two things. Number one is I didn't expect to live this long, but I'm sure glad I'm here. Well, I want to say the same thing when I hit 100. And I want to do it in a good quality of life body. So, Dennis, thank you so much for sharing all of these insights with us. And we look forward. I gotta go get some sleep anyway now. And we'll meet you back here next week. Okay?
Thank you, Richard. I appreciate you.
Join us here on the Body of Health. bodyofhealth.life is the website. That's one of them. DennisJHenson.com is another. And we certainly encourage you to go to realimpactbook.com as well, as we wrap things up here on this program here on Tell Me Your Story, New Paradigms for a New World. And until our next broadcast podcast, love to Lal. Jeanette, I'm still listening. Dad, continue to be happy because I am. Smokey, I'll see you on the other side. Mike, thanks for being in my life and letting me be in yours. To my dear friend Zorro, aho, aho.